joining us from. Welcome to this session where we're going to be talking about everything about from vibe coding to production ready cloud infrastructure. I don't know whether you ever thought you'd get to a point in time where we are still alive and you can say that vibe coding is a thing, and not just vibe coding applications. You can vibe code almost actually a lot of things. And in this case, you're now going to be discussing something very interesting. Can you really vibe code infrastructure? We've talked about infrastructure as code. We've talked about them. You know about some of those that are native to different cloud service providers. You've known about the agnostic ones, the open tofus, the terraforms, and all these other different things. But how can we bring now cloud to that DevOps engineer? How can we bring cloud? I mean, not cloud even, actually. How can we bring AI closer to that DevOps engineer, to that solutions architect, to that site reliability engineer? Name them. And here now these days is called, this a new title in town, AI forward delivery engineers, which is like a whole uh, in between solutions architecture and engineering. And that is what AI is doing. It is creating roles that we could have never, ever imagined. There's some people are called chief vibe coders in an organization. Anyways, this session is not really about us and me taking you through all that. You're going to be having an amazing guests today, and this session is courtesy of the AWS AIML User Group Kenya. We are one of the three AWS user groups here in Kenya. We have the user group Kenya, which is based off Nairobi, and we also have the AWS user group One, which is based off in Mombasa. And then we also have now this AWS AML user group Kenya, which is proudly based off Meru. And I can see a good number of you said where you're dialing in from. That is Brian from Nairobi, Ezina from Nairobi, James also from Nairobi, Luke all the way from Cameroon. Happy to have you here. And also Brian again from Nairobi. Please continue letting us know where you're dialing in from. And as I always say, the AWS ML user group is not, I'm not like the Paramount chief. I'm not like the Idi Amin or let me not mention people for the purposes of getting it. You already know the dictators of the world. So I work with a team, and I can see one of them. If you're also here as one of the leaders, please let me know. I can see Sherry. I'll give them a second to just say hi to us. Also recognizing the Cloud Club captains as well as other leaders of different communities who are here. Also happy to have you. Also, if you're here as one of the leaders of AIML user group, please let me know. Sherry, you can say hi to people before we get started. Are you in a position to unmute?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Very. Yeah,
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sherry Obare. I am so excited about today's session, and I'm looking forward to having a fruitful one and an impactful one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Appreciate it. Again, if there's any other leader, we usually are a team of like 5 leaders. We have Jacob, we have Rachel, we have Mishek, and we also have Julie, who form the core leadership of the AWS AML user group. And yeah, Jacob, you can say hi to people. I can see you've just joined. Welcome. You can say hi before we get started.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi, my name is Jacob, as Kevin has just said. I'm part of the leadership team, AWS User Group AIML Kenya, and I'm looking forward to getting to learn together with all you guys. And just as Kevin usually say, and actually that's part of our vision is how we can change, how we can make impact using AI ML solutions. So I'm ready to see how we can use web coding and just take it directly to production. Yeah. So thank you, Kevin.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And feel free to also uh, share this link out. I know you are maybe probably probably in other communities that I'm not in. So, or we are not in as the leaders, as also part of the membership. Please continue sharing this link. We want as many as you to get value out of this. And again, without any further ado, I would maybe just before I get there, I have to tell you about a little bit about AWS ML user group. We were founded last year in February. So ideally, next month we'll be celebrating 1 year of existence. We have over 800 members on Meetup, as well as also over 600 members on our WhatsApp group. And yeah, and also we have our LinkedIn pages. The leadership team will also share our link tree so that you can follow us or even join our WhatsApp community if you haven't joined yet. That is basically how I introduced. And as what Jacob has said, our tagline is transforming ideas into impact using AIML solutions. And that is exactly why you're having this session. And then at this juncture, please, I'd like to invite Tarak onto the stage so that he can, first of all, introduce himself, tell us a bit of his personal career journey, and then we can now get the conversation going. Tarak, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, and thank you so much. I'm very excited to meet all of you. So, today, basically, the way I started in cloud, so just to take a step back on who I am. So, I am the co-founder at Infracodebase. I didn't start my journey working in cloud. To be honest, I have a double degree in law and business. And this is what is surprising for a lot of people, especially for the people who know me from LinkedIn and all. They directly think that I'm a cloud engineer. I've been doing like I always been one, and to be honest, is not the case. I was really interested in cloud infrastructures, in understanding how tech work and how to empower our community worldwide. And this is why with Kevin we decided to do this event today. Um, Right now, I'm building Infracodebase. A lot of people are speaking about Vibe infrastructure. I like to see it as a way for us to put the right guardrails in motion because a lot of people are using AI, but without thinking about the guardrails, like for example, all of your security rules, your policy, all of the tooling that you're already using, basically it could be dangerous to use AI at scale is if you are not really mastering what you're doing first. So I think this is the purpose of the session today is I know a lot of people maybe have heard about vibe coding with Lovable, with Bolt, with V0 and so on. To be honest, I'm using Lovable a lot. I really like the experience and Infracodebase was also built and designed like to have an experience like lovable. And my goal today is like show you if you already started creating an app or website on lovable. I really believe that you can go from 0 to 80%, but then we can use Infracodebase to complete the last mile. Complete the last mile means going from 80% to 100% to create either on AWS, on GCP, on Azure as well, a ready cloud infrastructure with all your cost, your security, and you can actually deploy it after that. Um, I see this session to be interactive. Um, like I always said, I'm not a teacher. So for me, I really want to have a conversation with you, Kevin. I want to have a conversation with the chat, and let's build something all together.
Exactly, exactly. That is the essence of this discussion. It's us for us to have a discussion, and I know the chat will be buzzing very, very soon with a lot of questions. We've already opened some things. For example, I've already taken note because I'll ask you questions. We already said about guardrails, and before we
Yes.
even go into deep into that, I'd like to get to know what was that pain point. I know you've told me before, we've had sessions with you before. There's that pain point you saw that led to you building infra code base. What was that pain point you saw in the tech world?
Yes. So I started my career in cloud 5 years ago When I started my journey in cloud, I started as a cloud architect. My goal was really like understanding how we can design and manage cloud infrastructures, like I said, either cloud or multi-cloud. But it was a very manual process. You drag and drop resources on your canvas, and then you still need to manually configure each resources. So it's a great way to learn, but as I was more and more focused on how we can enable our cloud engineer community to go faster while learning faster as well, this is why I wanted to build Infracodebase with Justin. So from two angles. The first one was how can we make the best product for a cloud community? And for the people who have known me on LinkedIn, you see that every time we release new feature, uh, we have been adopted by the community because they directly see the impact that we can have on their everyday life. So this is the cloud engineer here talking, but as well as AI. I know that it's not going to be a buzzword. I know that a lot of people maybe are scared of using AI because a lot of people are already saying AI will replace me. And I think this is the mindset that we've given to say, no, it's not the case. Definitely it's going to impact something. Definitely the people who are going to use I don't like to speak about replacements. I like to consider AI as an enabler, but definitely the people who will use AI they will be able to do way faster and more secure things than the people who don't. And that's why with Kevin, we really want to do a series of AI talk, not because AI is a buzzword and it's famous for us to talk about AI, but it's because I already see that even when I'm speaking to enterprise companies in the US, in Europe, in Asia, wherever it is, not a lot of people know how to use it. Everyone wants to use it, but not a lot of people. So we build Infracode base from the cloud engineering perspective and from the AI perspective to show like we want people to be able to understand how to use the new tech to improve our everyday life. So I don't think it's about replacement, I think it's about enablement, and this is what we are going to talk about today.
With you, replacement and not, I mean, it's not about replacement, it's about enablement. And
Yes.
you've really pointed it out. And there's something very interesting about you as part of the founders of Infracodebase and Infracodebase itself is how you are so keen about the community. I remember we had a discussion with you and you shared with me an article, I mean, a LinkedIn post of someone who was very frustrated. They wanted to join an ambassador program, and
Yes.
then it was only acceptable for people in North America and the US. And then the moment they
Exactly.
removed that, this when they applied, they've never gotten feedback up until today. But
Yes.
for infra base, you're very keen, especially also for the African communities. What is that you saw that makes it different about community?
Two things. First, my name is Tarak. So I am French and African as well. I'm Tunisian, so I'm not coming from Europe to actually teach Africa how to do stuff. I'm African myself. So that's why for me the most important is this is my roots. I'm African. The second one is I do believe that tech should be universal. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. As long as you have the discipline, as long as you have the motivation to learn and to be better on a daily basis, I think this is what the most important. And a lot of people, I'm not blaming companies or anything, but a lot of people are focused on the US. A lot of people are focused on Europe. To be honest, for me, day one with Justin, we had the global mindset in mind. Right now, we have ambassador like you, Kevin, in Africa. We have people in Latam. We have people in Canada. We have people in Sydney, in Australia, in India. So for me, tech should be worldwide, and it's the only way that we can level up the global field. So it's not marketing and it's not because I am coming from Europe to basically teach other people. I don't have the supremacy mindset. I just say, okay, I'm a normal guy. I created the company because I wanted to have an impact in the world. And this is why I'm doing this talk today with you. This is what we will do a lot of talk. This is what 2 days ago, for example, we did a webinar. We had more than 700 people joining the webinar worldwide. It's not marketing. For me, it's like I really believe that all together we are better than alone. So for me, it's more about we than about I.
All about we than I. And actually, that is why we have these communities, and that is why we build this community. And just to mention is we are not here even as AWS ML. For example, when we get these opportunities to have these sessions, we share across all the different communities that we are part
Yes.
of. That is why we are doing it. We are doing this. And yeah, please at any point, feel free. I'm not the only person to ask questions to Tarak. Feel free
Yeah,
to put it
please.
in.
I see that as a discussion. So this is really what I love. I really want to know every one of you. I
Exactly.
really thank you for being here today, but please challenge me as well. I'm not coming here to give a talk or to give a presentation. I'm coming here to talk with you and to meet you and to build a relationship with you.
Exactly. And I saw a good friend I can put on the spot. He's my friend, a very good friend. He already knows, as I say this, he's the first HashiCorp ambassador for East Africa. He
Yes,
just got it
it's
last,
amazing. I
last
love
year.
when we are able to bring communities together.
Exactly. And he's really into infrastructure as code. And I'd like him to come on stage. It's
Yes,
called Patrick
please
Odhiambo. And
make
he
him
can
join.
ask you one or two questions.
Yes.
Patrick, the floor is yours.
Interesting. That is an ambush, Kevin. That's an ambush. Joined here. I joined here silently. I wish I had joined with an alias without a picture. But it's really nice to meet you, Tarak.
Thank
And
you.
it's actually very, very beautiful. Let me see if I can come on video. I hope my background is good. Can you see me? I have two screens, so I don't know where to face. This
Let
one
me
or
remove
that
the
one? One, two,
spotlight.
three. I remove
Let me
this.
remove let me
Okay.
remove the spotlight so
Okay.
that you can
Okay.
see.
Uh-huh. Nice,
Yes.
nice, nice.
Hi.
So, it's a bit embarrassing for me to make a confession that I'm about to make. That when Kevin invited me for this session, this is the first time that I'm hearing about Infracodebase. And I was actually on the website, and
Good. Great.
I'm already blown away. I'm already blown away. I'm seeing there's a lot of agentic stuff that is happening. And one of the things that I've learned myself, even as someone that has been in the cloud, it's important to keep up with what is happening around us.
Yes.
Because I think I really like something that you said, that we shouldn't really be worried about AI replacing us as engineers. Instead, we should be
Yes.
aligning ourselves to see how we can work alongside these AI tools, as let's say, using them as assistants of sorts, because that is how we get the
Mhm.
productivity going. There's an analogy I like giving people when I'm trying to encourage them to embrace tech and embrace what is happening. Think of typewriters. You see, we had secretaries who used to use typewriters back in the day. And then when they heard that there are these things called computers that are coming, we had two groups. We had the group one that decided to resist change. And you know what happened to them? They were rendered obsolete and redundant. So their jobs went. But there are also those who decided and said, let me see how this box that you press things and then it gives you what we currently do. Let's see how this one works. So I think even for engineers, one thing that will really help us to go up and above and actually become very good at what we do is to be adaptable to change. We say here that the only constant you have in life is change. Change is the only constant
Yes.
because it will keep changing. And something interesting about AI, and I know Kevin is really, really into AI. And one interesting thing about this guy is that before change happened, he already hears about it. Now, like for example, see, he knows about Infracodebase ahead of me, and I'm the ambassador here. You see, so lightly put, I would have expected myself to already know about this thing, but it's beautiful. And I also like your mindset that you see, even as we come to these webinars, we're not coming here to let's say hoard knowledge, as in you keep the knowledge to yourself, but community gives us opportunity to share knowledge. Like again, talking about HashiCorp. HashiCorp, we have these many suits. We have these many products, these wonderful products. And one beautiful thing about HashiCorp is that it is a company that is forward thinking. If we hear that AI is coming, we also try and find out how can we embrace these things. And very, very finally, because I want to give it back to you, I would also say that AI is still a developing concept. It's not like we have really reached the end of it. It's still maturing and things are changing. When you are trying to think about AI, you are using ChatGPT, you are with LLMs. Before time goes, you hear that now we've also moved to agentic AI. Before you even understand what agentic AI and go deep into it, you hear now we have model context protocol servers. Then you are now asking yourself now, how can I? And this is actually a question for you, and maybe you can also tell us how Infracodebase is helping us there in terms of smoothening the learning curve for engineers. How is Infracodebase helping engineers to smoothen the learning curve? Because even as an engineer, what I try encouraging people, I tell them, before you automate, get to know first of all how the manual process works, so that at the end of it all, you will now appreciate the power of automation. You see, before you
Yes,
automate,
I
learn the
agree.
manual and get a high level of understanding of how the manual processes works, because tools fail. Tools fail. You might take a tool and then you think that, oh, I'm vibe coding this thing, and then it introduces security vulnerability. So how is Infracodebase trying to help us as engineers, maybe, to smoothen that learning curve? Thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for having me. Tarak?
Thank you. As long
So
as you are
thanks a
prepared.
lot for the question.
Over to you.
I would like to give the mic to Kevin because, to be honest, he was recently introduced to Infracodebase. I did some sessions with him. Maybe you can actually answer Patrick. And once
I'll add
you,
that.
you, you
Can
started
add.
building on Infracodebase, what was the mindset that you had? How did he help you? Maybe as a founder, it's always easy for me to say how I believe, but that's why, as well as users, I believe that it's better for him to answer.
I see what you did there, like making sure someone gets it from the perspective of the user and not the founder. Yeah, so yes, I started out and it was very interesting because when there's a difference when you're doing it by yourself or you're doing it in a session with people and then or maybe even getting feedback. For example, what I did when I started out using Infracodebase is first of all was I wanted to get to you we wanted to prepare like an AWS serverless architecture. So what happened is uh, Tarak had worked on something on his workspace. In Infracodebase, there's something called a workspace. And then he shared with me his workspace. First of all, one thing he told me is, I'm not going to share this workspace for you first because once I've already created it, I need to do some check on the security. I need to validate the infrastructure before I put it out there to you and share it with you. Which was very interesting to hear because not many times do you hear someone who is building something thinking about the security aspect of things first. Then once he shared with me, what I did, actually I have to tell you this and you have to understand because it's a very raw story, is the first thing I did when I was interacting with Infracodebase, I made a mistake. Actually, I made a very huge mistake. I actually took the code and the first thing I told AI, can you deploy this infrastructure? I think it was less than 4 words, actually less than 4 or 5 words, which is not a good thing if you're thinking about a prompt. A good prompt has to be very specific. It has to be clear. It has to have all those different things. And what happened was the worst thing I've ever seen to me because I didn't put some scoping around it. I was already going back to Tarak and telling him, this AI is doing whatever it is wanting to do. Then we got into a session with him and he told me, can you show me what prompt you put there? And he almost laughed at me and says, how many words are those? What did you just put there? And we actually started, I iterated and I learned from that. And I did another prompt which was very specific and we had a lot of what should I do, and it was amazing what the AI could do. I told it maybe create a diagram, and then you're going to work with whether you can choose, maybe if you're talking about AWS, you can choose CloudFormation or you can choose Terraform. Yeah, something like that. So it's all very specific. You are going to use CloudFormation. Then I was also specific that you're going to use an 3-tier architecture. And this is the business scenario. We are talking about a customer that is maybe cost budget conscious, but cost also comes with security. As much as there's a budget, then let's do security. And it created a whole end to end from the diagram to the 3 tiers classical architecture that you already know. as all those different things, as well as the YAML files, which definitely you have to also now validate the human in the loop. And that was a very huge learning point for me, because there's no way I could have gone in front of people and say, let's use this. Then I just use a very generic prompt that doesn't explain what exactly happens. And that is what happens more for most people. They get these AIs, get super excited. You want to say generate these, and then you also want to deploy. Also, just to mention to you is that already also connected to one of my AWS accounts. I have several of them. So also the AI was attempting to find ways of deploying everything on the infrastructure autonomously, because I didn't put a very specific prompt, or I need to check these before you deploy. So those are some of the things that were learning points for me. And every day we continue to learn. Right now, I'm much better. I'm still also learning, and that is why I still bring Tarak, and we also have sessions. But what I love about Tarak is that you rather than him being, he cannot be in every session, he cannot be in every event. So he wants you to be as good as he is, and he'll tell you more. He has, I think we have like a lot of sessions that he holds. For example, he holds with software engineers, talk about these things around prompting, zero shot, few shot examples, a lot of things. And I know he's going to add and share with that. But that was my whole story in a nutshell of how I got a bit of character development with AI. Yeah.
I really love it. And to summarize, maybe what you said is like, that's why I do believe that AI is not growing to replace us, because basically we still need to understand what we want to obtain, what we want to get, how explicit we need to be. So of course, like I always thought about it, is going to impact the way we work. Coding, like writing code, is not the bottleneck anymore. You can write code on any LLM that you want, but writing security code, quality code, respecting your standard at scale, this is the challenge that I see today. So what Kevin said is like, the more explicit you are when using AI, the better output you will get. And it's exactly the same. Like, for example, when I joined Kevin and I look at his prompt, I said, okay, imagine that, for example, instead of being the AI, I am Tarak and I'm a cloud engineer working in your team. What do you think if, for example, you just tell me provision this infrastructure? I wouldn't understand. Do you want me to provision this infrastructure using which language? Using which method? Um, do I need to check the code and the cost first? So by doing that, we actually took a step back and say, okay, imagine that you're using AI as a copilot, as someone else of your team. The, you wouldn't talk with me being abstract. I like things that are explicit. If you want to get something, just tell me. I want to get this and this and that, and speak about, instead of thinking just about prompt, think about spec. So the goal is like, the more explicit you are, and don't be scared about writing long prompt, because then you feed the AI the right context. You feed the AI the exactly what you want to get. And actually, AI, it's working a lot with data. The more data you feed the AI, the better it is. I'm not saying it like you need to have a lot of data, but enough to build or to manage what you want to have, for example, on the cloud infrastructures. So my goal is like to make it more accessible. But yes, it was a great session.
Exactly. And there then always one thing that you do is learn by doing. So I've shared the sign up link. It has a referral, and that means that if you sign up through that exact link, you get extra credits. And also, once you're in, you can also share your link with people in the community, so that you also get more credits to do a couple of things. One thing that Tarak always says is he wants people to do their best to use the platform as much as possible for free, right? And when you do share the link, you get to
Yes.
understand and do this, especially at the community level. It doesn't really need you to, when you're learning, to be paying, which many large, like providers, think of them like the AWSs, the Anthropics, they limit you. They'll tell you now you have to pay because they're a lot in business. But Infracodebase as a startup and very big on community, they really want you to get the best of these so that even by the time you're working with an enterprise, then you're going to be getting a lot of these. And before we go,
One thing
before
to add, just
yes,
one thing
yes,
to
yes,
add
yes, you can
is
go on. You can
I
add
don't
that.
think it's because we're a startup or we are big corp or anything, because we are a high growth company as well. But I do believe it's about the impact. Like I'm always thinking about if I'm building a company tomorrow, of course, we need the money to survive. If not, whatever I want to do, if with no money, we cannot. But I am seeing myself as a social entrepreneur. Social entrepreneur means my first goal is impact. My first goal is thinking about how can I use our product Infracodebase to empower others to learn. So, for example, this is what Kevin said earlier. Sometimes I don't want to jump or to join sessions. Why? Because I really want people to train others. And this is, I think, the power of the community is like really learning, like if I'm able to accomplish something, someone else is able to accomplish something. That's why for me, it's not about the tech level, because this, I can teach you everything you want, but it's about the curiosity, the willingness to learn, and the willingness to always think I can do better than yesterday. So it's more a mindset than just I know tech, I know AI and something. Because, like I said, I didn't start my career. I'm 36 years old now. I didn't start my career in AI. AI didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago. I didn't start my career as an engineer. I started my career working with the largest organization of the world. But from them, I wanted to always become a founder because I wanted to have an impact. So for me, it's like put your mind on something, and whatever you put your mind on something, make sure that you can accomplish it.
I totally agree with you. Brian is asking something on the chat. It
Yes.
says very low. Is there an extension or ID or is it a cloud aggregator? Kindly specify what does it specifically solve?
So we are actually building our IDE for people to no, not IDE. We are actually working on the CLI. CLI is, for example, for the people who want to use VS Code but still have the smartness of Infracodebase. They can do it. To be honest, one of the main differentiators that we have compared to other competitors is like first we are very cloud infrastructure specific. I saw a lot of product like Cursor, Cloud, and so on, thinking more about software engineering. For me, even though I write code on HCL, the way I manage cloud is not the same way as the way I manage, for example, or I build an app. So first is very specific, and the second is the interface itself. You will see it, but we wanted really to have a B2C motion, thinking like it's so accessible, it's so easy to use that whatever the level that you have, either you are an expert, an intermediate, or even a beginner, you can use it. So for me, to answer your question, um, is there an extension ID? We are building it. Uh, and is it a cloud aggregator? It really depends on what you call aggregator. But like I was telling you earlier, the goal is you have a lot of tools, especially at the enterprise level. You have a lot of tools that you're using. So my goal is like to bring everything and to build a control plane to add the governance layer. So if you think like that, then yeah, it could be considered as a cloud aggregator because you're able to use all the cloud providers and instead of switching context every single time you want to work on AWS, Azure, GCP, and so on, you can use Infracodebase to manage all of them. Infracodebase is same as cloud. No, it's not what I said. Cloud is really specific to, for me, as a software engineer, I will use cloud. I will not use cloud to manage cloud infrastructures. So it's not because it's cheaper, it's because it's very specific. The way you manage cloud is not the way you manage or you create or manage a website. So it's not because it's cheaper, because actually when we sell it to big organization, we can sell it to more than $100,000. So it's not cheap, but it's just that it's very specific. It's like when you want to buy a Lamborghini and you compare it to a Ford Mustang. Two are cars, but they're specific for specific audience. So we wanted to think as cloud engineer, and we build Infracodebase thinking what could be the best product as cloud engineers ourselves that we can use. So it's not because it's cheaper. It's same thing,
Tarak,
Curious CLI.
yeah, at this
Yeah,
juncture, I'd like to, because we are really on to doing things and not just talking about it. I'd like you to
yes,
take the audience through what we did together. These business case that we did early in the week about the industrial
yes.
IoT and these. Yeah, you can just at a high level explain what we are doing here. I can be scrolling down on your behalf. Maybe I can just do this first. Yeah, maybe we can.
And then we can build something together as well, meaning I can build with the community as well live.
Sure. Yeah. So Tarak will add on to this. So we did this prompt. It was an industrial IoT kind of business case. You can see you give it a persona. You are an AWS architect designing infrastructure for a cost and security conscious organization. Generate a 3-tier AWS architecture diagram together with cloud formation that satisfy the following business requirements. Give it a bit of context. Organization is cost sensitive but security first. Environments of dev and prod must be isolated. No CI/CD pipelines. Infrastructure must be deployable also manually. Prefer managed services and pay per use. And then the architecture requirements for all the 3 tiers. Some of the zero trust requirements. Also the infrastructure as code requirements, for example, cloud formation using nested stacks, parameterizing the environment, mandatory tags of end system. And now these are the deliverables, explanation of how the business requirements map to the architecture decision, the full cloud formation YAML templates, the manual deployment instructions using AWS CLI, and the validation checklists focusing on control and zero trust security. And you can see it started doing the whole thing, designing a cost conscious. It opened up the diagramming tools and looking at the icons. And then it did a whole thing around the cost conscious design using Fargate, ECS Fargate, DynamoDB, LB, single NAT gateway, AZ, security fast, private subnets, all these different things. Then started doing the writing the YAML files, as you can see here. And then it gave a summary of what it had, all the things that it had done, which is exactly what we had already asked. And if I just do this and show you how the diagram looks like, so you can see how pretty cool the diagram looks like. And one thing that I know Tarak will mention about, this is not like a diagram you kind of modify. The problem that we're having with diagramming is you create a diagram that doesn't speak or is not synchronized to the code. You change the code a bit, you have to go back again and draw the diagram. But at Infracodebase, the diagram as well is a reflection of what the code is. So let's say if I remove all DynamoDB references in the code and I regenerate the diagram will not have that. So you cannot directly edit this diagram. This diagram is a representation of the code. And you go back to the code, you can see the YAML files, the validation checklist that we asked it to create. This is the validation checklist, as you can see
And,
here.
and And I think this is also one of the main USPs that we have is like when you think about cloud architecture, you have different teams. Like cloud architect, for example, that used to work on in Draw.io, in Lucid, in Eraser, and then another team is working on regenerating the code, writing the code, either CloudFormation, Terraform, Bicep, and so on. And there is always a drift, exactly what you said, I loved it. There is always a
Mhm.
drift between code to design. So if I update, for example, my code, then it's now reflected on the design and vice versa. The second one is basically also like context switching. So our goal is like to bring different teams together, like cloud security team, cloud architect team, DevOps people as well who can write directly the code on Infracodebase. And everything that they do, for example, in the design, will be reflected in the code and vice versa. So it's a perfect match. There is no drift between both elements.
Exactly. Yeah, and as what Tarak said is definitely what we can do. We can build a whole thing together. Don't know that my network
Yes,
will pan out
I
for
can share
me.
my screen
I
if you
don't know,
want.
but if it doesn't, yeah.
I
So
can do it
you can share.
from
You can
my
use.
own
We can use
session.
yours. We can
Yes.
use yours. Yes,
Okay.
let's use yours.
So here I will basically share the
Yeah,
entire
sure.
screen,
Okay.
and here I will go to Arc. So here, let's say that, for example, for the people who are using Lovable, let's say, for example, you have built an app, a website, whatever you want. For the purpose of this, I will take a template, but imagine that it's your own project. For example, here, let's say that we worked on, I don't know, we worked on this one, for example. Use the template, or maybe we worked on like the goal of what I'm showing you right now is not it's to not think about the template itself, but more think about the what you already built. So let's say, for example, that I choose this and I remix it. Starting to remix your project. Perfect. So here I will show you the bridge. Like I start, for example, vibe coding my application, my website, and so on. And from that, I'm using GitHub to build a bridge between Infracodebase and Lovable. Here, it's taking some time from the Lovable side. I'm copying Lovable Cloud and so on. So here, just need to wait a little bit until we actually can look at the project. Um, yeah. I think this project was quite big, but it's good. So here, okay. Imagine we build this one, right? And like I said, you can build, it's just an example. Here now, what I can do is that I can use GitHub. I can connect to GitHub here. Now I can connect my project, for example, to Infracodebase. Now I can view it. Perfect. And now this is the one. So remix of clean photographer. Now I can go on Infracodebase. For example, here I can go to Infracodebase. This is how Infracodebase looks like. You go here, you create your account, you can build workflows, rule set, tools, and sub-agent. This is what I was speaking about on the AI foundation layer. And for a use case, what we can do is that we can create a new workspace here. You can start from scratch. You can start, for example, from template that the community created. So here, if you want to look at it and fork basically different projects, you can do that as well. And we already have 211 templates available. And here, but for use case, we import from GitHub. Now I go Infracodebase. I look, for example, here at remix. So here, let me get the of clean photographer. It's this one. And now create the workspace. Now what I imported is directly the repo that you could see here. It's this one. Now what I'm going to do, and as you can see, there is no infrastructure as code here. It's mainly JSON code. So here I will use the Terraform MCP. And now I can say, okay, now build the Azure and AWS equivalent of this existing code base. For AWS, write the cloud formation code respecting the AWS best practices. So for example, one thing that I like to use is AWS Well Architecture Framework. So for example, this one. So here I can use this. I can share it here. Then for Azure, write the bicep code following. And here I do the same for Azure One Architecture Framework is basically this one. So here I can use it. And then now also use the Terraform MCP to write the Terraform code for both AWS and Azure, following the Terraform best practices and latest updates. Up. So you see, I shared a lot of let's say context, and here is going to understand everything that I've done, exploring the existing code base. So the goal was I'm vibe coding. I'm using Lovable, I'm using other products. For here, I created the repository on GitHub. From the GitHub repository, I imported it on Infracodebase. So you could use Infracodebase for cloud migration, for greenfield, for brownfield, and for cloud security as well. Like everything related to cloud infrastructure management, you can use Infracodebase for it. Then now is able to read actually the code that is not even a Terraform code or an infrastructure as code like that, is able to understand all the hyperlinks that I shared on AWS WAF and Azure WAF, is able to use and consume the Terraform MCP to write my Terraform code. Terraform, like Terraform, CloudFormation, and any other languages. Based on that, like I said earlier, it's a discussion. Do you have any question based on what's happening right now on the screen?
Yeah. Is there anyone with a question? Feel free to ask Tarak. And you can see some comments that have come. Michael is saying sub-agents, this is the most impressive feature I've seen so far instead of going back and forth over small tasks. And Patrick is also saying he loves how you're writing the prompt because you're also pointing the links to give
Yes.
framework for context, which is
Yes.
also really good.
If I
Any other
wanted, for
questions?
example,
Yeah.
Can
one
I
thing
ask a
that I
question?
could, yeah, yes, sorry, yes. Tell me.
Please
Yeah.
ask.
Okay. I'm seeing it's like lovable.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's understanding the context, and there's some sub agents building the files from
Mm-hmm.
it. So okay, isn't this like sort of close to an IDE, but
Mm-hmm.
just like lovable instead of using lovable with all that?
So I wouldn't say instead of, because for example, in our use case right now, right? That's why I wanted to show you a live use case. Lovable, it's great to go from 0 to 1. 0 to 1 means, okay, I have an idea. I want to create a website. I want to create an application. I want to create anything I want. From here, it's great. You have the design, you have the code and all. But what do you do when, for example, you want to convert JSON code to infrastructure as code, then to do the provisioning on any targeted cloud provider? So I wouldn't see it's a replacement. It's actually, that's why I was speaking earlier. It's like use Lovable to go from 0 to 80%. Once you have the 80%, then the goal is actually to go to use Infracodebase for the last mile, to go from 80 to 100%. So this is exactly what we're doing now, right? It's so I imported an existing Terraform, an existing GitHub repository that I got from Lovable, and then I imported it. So you're right about something. You're right about the experience that we wanted to have was exactly similar to the experience that you could have on Lovable. But in terms of product, is way different. Like I really like positioning. Infracodebase is for cloud infrastructure management. Lovable is for creating app, creating websites, either simple website, complex website, whatever you want, but it's very complementary. So I wouldn't speak about it as a replacement, but more as a in your SDLC in your own SDLC, start with Lovable, for example, use Infracodebase, then to write the infrastructure as code.
Okay, awesome. Lastly, uh,
Yes.
okay, I see it's okay. So basically, it's going to manage it's going to make the GitHub repository be fit for okay, to divide the whatever uh, tasks to make it suitable for different cloud providers.
Mm-hmm.
Now my question is, if someone doesn't have like let's say AW, assuming I only have a Google cloud provider, and
Mm-hmm.
so like if somebody just signs up on Infracode,
Mm-hmm.
how is it like they have the access to AWS? Because there's so many in AWS. There's so many like there's a Lambda. There are different kinds of solutions. So like how all those complexities. Just curious.
I will be very honest, your question is quite long. I don't think I
Oh,
got everything that you
let
said.
me let me
But for the people, for
let me
example, who are
simplify it.
using,
My battery is 2%.
yes, yes.
So
But for the people who are using
yeah.
GCP, for
So
example, they can use it directly. Like
okay.
what I was telling you, the purpose of this session today, we can do another session, is to go from vibe coding to an AWS Azure cloud infrastructure ready to be deployed. But for example, for the people who are already using GCP and they don't have a code, or they only have a diagram, or they have a code but they don't have the diagram, they can use InfraCodebase to build all of this. So what I'm doing on AWS and Azure, if you want, I can also ask later, okay, now I also want you to write the GCP code related to this code base. This I could do it.
Yeah, Tarak. And I think one other thing Brian was asking was
Also,
how do you make sure that infra code base is connected to maybe let's say AWS or Azure so that you
Okay.
can move from having the template, the code to deploying without getting away of infra as code. And then
yeah,
Michael was also
yeah.
asking,
So you
how
do
do you,
When
this.
one doesn't even have
Brian, was that the question?
the
Yes?
accounts. Yeah.
Yes. So what you do is like we build our own tool registry in terms of MCPs. So for example, here you see Terraform, you see GitHub, you see AWS, Azure, GCP, and so on. So for example, let's say now that I am directly here, I have tools. You see, for example, here, um, let's say for example, GCP is checking, but you can configure your own GCP subscription directly on InfraCodebase here. Like you have a lot of people being able to deploy or even to read the subscription because they use the official MCPs. For example, for Google Cloud here, they're able to look at it and then they're able to uh, set up their own account, set up their own subscription. So you go to the registry, you look at the MCPs that you want, and then you configure it. The same thing that I've done on Terraform right now, for example. Edit connection, and then you can set it up the way you want. It's the same thing for AWS and for all the MCPs provider that you see here.
One last quick question. So
Mhm.
with these other different cloud providers, does the cost go to each of the cloud providers as well, plus Infracode, or Infracode just has one that covers all the cloud providers?
So when you use InfraCodebase, like Kevin was saying, it's based on credits. So it's based on it's basically, for example, here, everything that you do is based on credits. It's based on consumption. But in terms of cost, no, it doesn't have an impact on. We are not a replacement. We are not a replacement of all the cloud providers, the Git providers, and so on. Like someone else from the chat earlier said, we are kind of an aggregator. You have different tools that you need to manage. Instead of every time going to AWS console, Azure console, and so on, you can manage everything from here. But the way you're already working as a cloud engineer, I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. The way you're working is the way you can work on Infracodebase today. Like if you already have all your Azure subscription, AWS subscription, just um, instead of manually switching from subscription to subscription, just use Infracodebase here and do exactly what I'm doing now. So there is no multiple, I wouldn't say there is multiple cost, but think about it as an aggregator, as a control plane, basically.
And
Was
then
I
the
clear?
other thing, just to mention as a caveat, is the resources Infracodebase deploys on your behalf, the costs that are associated with those infrastructure, you're going to pay AWS or you're going to pay GCP or you're going to pay
Yeah, it doesn't change. Meaning you still provisioning resources, right? You're still provisioning resources on Azure, on AWS, on GCP. So in, it's we are not reinventing the wheel. Like we're just giving you a way to go faster, being more secure, and instead of doing the manual ClickOps, basically you can use AI to do what I'm doing now.
Exactly, exactly. Uh, there is a question by Michael. Then we can go to Luke. Michael, are you in a position to speak? I would really be happy if you guys ask these questions out using your voices. If not, I can still ask on your behalf, Michael. But Michael is asking, does infra code base have a rollback or previous state in case there is a mistake?
Yes, I love this question. So for example, here, let's say that I'm on Infracodebase. You can go, for example, to the workspace here. You can go, for example, here. Let me check something. You can go to the editor here, and then you have the vision history. So you can look at it. You can revert the changes as well. For example, here, you can look at it. You can revert to previous version. Yes, you can do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So that's a very good learning point that with every step you also can revert.
Mhm.
And Luke is asking, how is credit consumption calculated? Is it on a token generation basis?
So, for example, for credit consumption, what you can see is that every time you have your bar here, right? So here you can look at this bar is annoying me. You can look at credit usage and analytics. So here you have the credit usage for this period, how many days are remaining, and all. And then you have the top workspaces. For example, you can see that multi-cloud Kubernetes landing zone consumed 2.9 thousand credits and it did 32 requests. So here we also wanted to give you the visibility on the credit consumption. And then if you have top users as well, because InfraCodebase has been built a team collaboration in mind, you have the top users as well with the request, the credits, and the percent of total as well. So you always have the visibility.
Awesome. Awesome. I think I love this because you don't get it out there. There's one time I think I was doing something with a particular AI, and all of a sudden in the middle of the way, everything stopped, and I was told I have to wait until I get credits next month
Exactly.
or something. And you don't want that to be happening when you're dealing with infra and everything, and that is why there's that visibility.
And this is what you were saying earlier, is like here, if I go back onto dashboard, you can look at it here. Um, you go, for example, let me check. You go, for example, here, and then you go to settings. And once in the settings, you will be able to look at your referral link as well. So like Kevin said, the goal is like to build a community together, to grow together. So you have two ways. Once you're announced, you have two ways. Either you buy the product or you find other people who could be really interested in using Infracodebase. And the more you share Infracodebase, the more credit you earn. So for example, every time you share and someone else creates an account, then you will earn 250 credits.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And that is exactly why we have community so that you can grow and you can use the tool. And in any case in your organization you need it, you can also buy the product and then you can be able to use that. Okay.
Yeah.
Any question? Any question? I cannot see any more questions in the chat or anyone who is raising their hand or they want to unmute regarding.
Maybe one thing as well,
Yeah.
a lot of people are
Yeah.
thinking that AI is a black box, and that's why we created the task progress. Like, I show you the first prompt that I wrote, and based on that, I always have the visibility on the task. Like, you see, the first one was create the AWS CloudFormation infrastructure, then the bicep, then now the AWS Terraform. Then is we are at the step of Terraform, Azure Terraform, and create the diagram. So you always have the visibility on what Infracodebase is able to do and is doing.
Awesome. Maybe you can mention something about, okay, there's a question that is coming from Michael. Does Infracodebase have an assistant to check for configuration mistakes and security vulnerabilities in real time like AWS Trusted Advisor?
Yes, you can build it. So for example, here, what you can do is like always think about the foundation layer first. Here, for example, for me, I usually depending on the use case, of course, but I can onboard different rule set as well. Like for example, if I want to use the AWS Well Architecture Framework, or if I want to use, or if I have, for example, security rule set that I want to have, then I can import them directly. So here you can import either by file or import from a URL. Second thing that you can do is that you can also create your own sub-agent. For example, here we create the sub-agent for Azure Policy, for the OWASP Top 10, for example, here threat modeling, and then for the Azure as well on Zero Trust architecture. Obviously, we have already the Git agent that it's a built-in, and to create it is very easy. Simply need to specify the name, the description, the system prompt, give the permission as well to the agent, and based on that, you will do whatever you want. So yes, think of almost like Legos, like plug and play. Like bring your tools together, bring your all of your rule sets, build your own sub agents, and based on that, once you are in the workspace working on your projects, then AI will directly follow all of your context. And here, as we can see, so portfolio AWS, he created this directly. He created the Azure one as well. Here, if I want to modify, for example, here, I can just modify it like that. And as you can see here, now we can improve. So make sure that we used all official icons for the diagrams. And you can improve it. But what we did was we went from something that was not created on infrastructure as code. We imported it on Infracodebase. We built the AWS infrastructure, the Azure infrastructure as well, on CloudFormation and on Bicep. We followed the AWS and Azure Web Architecture Framework. We built the diagram. We looked at the security as well and all security, performance, cost optimization, operational excellence. And here we can continue tweaking it.
Yeah, there's a
So
question from God coming through and he's
yes,
asking, is it possible to export the architecture diagram that is there on the canvas?
yes. The question that I have when people ask me this is, what will be your objective when you want to export the architecture diagram?
Mhm.
What would you like to accomplish? What would you like
Godfrey, what
to
would you like to accomplish or something? Maybe I can ask, I can maybe give something on my end. Maybe let's say I want to present it to a customer and I don't want to be for them to get lost in the what? Maybe I want to put it as part of a presentation or something.
Yes. So we are
Mhm.
actually working on this. You will be able to export your diagram. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's something that continual improvement also the product features and everything. Awesome.
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
And
maybe present to others without adding them to the
and
what.
here
It
maybe
makes
one thing
sense.
that I
Yeah,
can
or
do
even
because
maybe
we
having to
always
log in and them seeing this particular something.
Exactly. So here what we did was to basically have the Azure, to have the AWS as well. Here one thing, the Terraform. So here what we can do is that now we can basically here uh, I'm always thinking about security, right? So for example here what we can do is like run tfsec checkoff Terraform validate Terraform plan for both Azure and AWS. Do the same for code quality and code security for Bicep and Cloud Formation. Then here, of course, we can tweak it, we can improve it, we can add the 100% and all. But one thing that I think it's interesting as well is like now create a breakdown cost of the entire code base. Create it as a file. So once we have done everything, the work is not done. It's like for now, I really want to go deeper, really want to understand, okay, what did we do? How can we improve the code base? One thing that I've done on on the diagram part is like understanding like we always use the official icons and I continue working on it. And as you can see here, is doing all of this. So like Kevin was speaking about, it's not because we use AI that we are not secure. We must pay more attention to security and to code quality when using AI. So we don't need ourselves to do the code review or the code security review, but what is important is to know what we want to get. So for example here, I can look at, he already created the Terraform lock RCL here, and I always see the diff. And he also used the latest version of AWS and of Terraform, of course. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, there are other questions coming through, a lot of them. I don't know if you can look at them in the chat yourself and see them, or if not, I can read them for you.
I can look at them. Credit consumption, assistant export, yes. A dock on it. I can see any after performing. Is there a dock on it? I didn't understand the question from Daniel. Is there a
I think
dock on it?
that one is like, is there like infra code based documentation? If that, I
We are
think that
working
must
on
be the
it.
question you have.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are working on that. My goal as well, to be honest, is that you see a lot of companies relying a lot on documentation. I really wanted to build a product that was explicit enough. Like you don't need to rely on documentation to be able to use it. That's why also we have a lot of ambassadors creating their own videos on our YouTube channel. But definitely, if also you want to take part of it, I would love to build with you the more content to show how people can use it. Another form of agentic IDE. I like this question, but maybe we can go deeper. What do you call an agentic IDE? I love it. Godfrey, I love it. Thank you. But
Godfrey
yes, maybe agentic IDE is
Godfrey
also
is saying it
one.
just started and it did not need any documentation, which
Yeah,
means that you have built a code that you should be proud of yourself.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
One thing as well on the IDE part is like you see two kind of products on the market today. The product that exists in pre-AI and the post-AI. For example, pre-AI, they use AI as a feature, but it's not built on AI. So it's not what I call AI first. Lovable and Infracodebase are two products that without AI, the product doesn't exist. You cannot use it. So us is AI first. Like everything that I'm doing now, without AI, I wouldn't be able to use it. Um, but I don't know if you spoke about agentic ID in this way, or maybe you can explain it better if you want. Same thing
James,
for,
are you good?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Michael is asking something. I don't know that. Oh, but you wanted to say something before I cut your flow of
No,
thought
no,
or cut.
no. I was actually
Okay.
reading the next question on about
Okay,
my
you can
code. Does it
continue.
explain
Please,
the
please go
code?
on. I was also
Yeah. Does it explain the code he has generated? Yes. That's why I showed you earlier the output. And that's why I will show you the output on security right now. But yes, it's always giving you like here, is always showing you, for example, the task progress is always showing you like once it's done working, giving you the entire output to give you all the explanation for you to not consider AI as a black box, but to consider AI as another team member. So yes.
Yeah, and also to add on to that is Infracodebase cannot teach you how Terraform, right? It's not like a platform for you to learn what does Terraform validate mean. So it's not going to really explain to you line by line, hey, this is what or something else. The way, when you're building a software, I think when you're writing code, maybe you might need an explanation because it is for software. But if I think it's for infra, you need to come in with some good level of knowledge. For example, you can see Tarak said, I want you to run Terraform checkoff and validate. You have to already know what that
Yes, yes.
is
But
all
even if
about.
you don't know, for example, if you don't know TFSec, because I really want to make this product very accessible to the learners as well, even if you
Yeah,
don't know TFSec, checkoff, and what I'm doing now, but you're thinking maybe about security, what you could say is r run the security, run security check. Like I don't really know, for example, the command, the tools that I can use, but I already know like because I'm generating code with AI, I need to check the security. Then I just can write check the security right now or check the cost right now. You don't necessarily need to use the tools like Chekhov and all because InfraCodebase is smart enough to understand like the context. Like if you say, okay, you already wrote, for example, Terraform code, but you don't know the Terraform commands, then InfraCodebase is really able to understand, okay, if he wrote the Terraform code and if he's asking me security, then it means that, if then that, it means that we based on these two, I can run TFSec and all. And this is for me really important is like you don't need to be an expert and to know all the tools, but you need to, for example, here have the right mindset in place. Like I do code, I need to check code quality, code security. I run an infrastructure, I need to understand the cost. And I do this, I need to understand that. So it's more about logic that I want you guys to learn than just learning tools or syntax or anything like that. Just learn the logic.
exactly, exactly. And something else that comes out is how specialized infra code base is to cloud infrastructure, which is the differentiator from maybe other tools that are quite more multi-purpose and they are from software to, and with that it being
Yes,
very special, it has already understood what cloud engineers need when it comes to deploying infrastructure that they can easily maintain going forward.
exactly. So as well, why we created infracode base when we already know that there is cloud, there is cursor and all is because like I said, we are cloud engineers ourselves. It's not like we have been working, Justin has been working for the past 10 years on cloud. I've been working for the past 5 years on cloud. So based on our experience, we build the product for us first as cloud engineers. And for us, we really wanted to be really specific. Like, I don't want to be able to do everything, but I want to be the best in cloud infrastructure management. So that's why this product has been created, cloud infrastructure management in mind. Is also the
Yeah,
difference with other products. And the question that you asked me earlier about the code is like now you use a lot of natural language. So for example, here I will show you. You have the output, security and quality analysis. So here you can actually read, okay, completed comprehensive security and quality check on AWS, on Azure, on Bicep, on CloudFormation, overall security assessments, high priority issues, medium, so it's able to give you the score as well. Is able to give you as well the issues on the code quality side, and then it tells you, okay, all infrastructure code validates and compiles successfully, solid foundational. The security issues identified are primarily hardening opportunities rather than critical vulnerabilities, which is expected for development environments. Of course, I can push it. Of course, I can say, no, I really want it to be enterprise grade ready, and we can do that together. But it always gives you the output for you to read. And now it's basically working on the on the cost. But within what we spend,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a question Michael is asking, and I think it's kind of related on what he's saying. I'm asking about the explanation about the code because he has used Gemini CLI and by Google, and you can highlight any random part of the code,
Yes.
say explain this or something. Yeah.
But I have a question. Let's say now that you're working on a code base of more than 30,000 lines of code. Do you really think that you will go line by line and understanding all the 30,000 line of code, or would you like to keep it high level? So it really depends on the context as well, right? If you're thinking about if it's like a small infra, to be honest, yes, you could do it, but this product has also been built for enterprise companies who needs to manage thousands of lines of code. So for me, the difference maybe with Gemini is like for these companies, they are not going to look line by line on each code because if not, might as well write the Terraform code yourself. But the thing that they're going to do is like put the right guardrails. So that's why I was speaking about governance first. If you put the right guardrail, the right context, before even thinking about generating code, then you, I wouldn't say you can blindly trust AI because even me, I'm not blindly trusting it. But instead of looking at each line code line by line, then you will spend weeks looking at what AI did. You can just test, like what I've done right now, right? I didn't check all of my code, but the thing that I've done is, okay, you generated code. How can I streamline my test? Instead of looking manually, line by line, how can I do it?
Yeah. Then also to add, maybe Tarak, you can go to one of the files, the YAML or in Azure. There's something that is beautiful about Infracodebase. For example, it has comments. It has comments. It explains at a high level what you've mentioned. There's usually
Yes.
some Terraform code, and when you look at any like a Terraform file, it will tell you this set of lines is doing this or something. It will always give you
And you
an
have the
idea of what kind
documentation
of.
as well. Like
Yes,
for
and also
example, here you see AWS portfolio infrastructure. You can look at the architecture overview. You can look at everything you want here. Same thing, for example, for the cost. You can look at infrastructure. So here we accept infrastructure resource analysis, and you can look at all the costs and all here with the cost analysis and so on, the key findings. So you have the documentation directly. You don't need to write the documentation. It's written. And it also give you, for example, tables like that.
So
So now,
Godfrey,
yeah.
I don't know whether Godfrey can come on off mute and tell us more about this project. Have you like already done it on infracode basis only that you have not deployed? Have you done it like just during this session? Uh, I've just seen it and it looks very good. It's called something called Imladris, the Zero Trust Infinity Castle, something.
So here, one thing you can do if you have this one is, oh, so you have done it already.
Yeah, he has done it. I think he has
Okay.
created it using, yeah.
So I love it. And what is
Mhm.
great as well is, for example, here, what you can do is infracode base /templates. you can look at your work as well here. Like if I'm looking at if it's a public project, email address, let me see if I can find it. Yeah. So right now, if other people wants to fork your work, they can just come here, look at, for example, here. Oh, it's really interesting. I really like the design. I really like, for example, here. It's amazing. I can fork it. And here I can have it and I can continue working on it. If I also want to better understand who you are, then I can look at it and say, oh, it's him. Oh, I can follow him as well, like following. I can share your profile as well with others. I can look at all the workspaces that you created. So like that is really community based on that as well. And
Awesome.
here
Awesome.
I would like to so
Yeah.
create a folder called infrastructure with all AWS, Azure files and folders. And you see here as well, it gives you the like analyze out of this 26,000 here. You have the cost, decision framework, and so on. Actual configuration found in Terraform, CloudFormation, Bicep. So we created the cost as well. Now, one thing that we can do, I'm thinking, because we push it a lot here. Yeah. But and one question as well for Angebo. How was the experience? Like you're a new user, how did you, what was your experience? I don't want to influence your answer, so that's why I'm just asking a question.
Hi. The experience was good because like I started 30 minutes ago, immediately after you shared the link. And the first thing I had to like structure the prompt, of course, for it to come out that way, but it was a project I was initially working on. So I think it did it quite fast, and the part that really took interested me so far is the way it did like the diagrams, and then
Oh,
this the way it like plans everything. It doesn't start randomly. It plans everything, gives you structure, and then shows you exactly what is happening, and the documentation, of course.
okay. I love it. So if other people wants to follow your work as well, that's why we build this for you to be able to build and to make your brand bigger as well. Like now, for example, I'm following you. Maybe right now we have around 45 people who can follow you as well. So by this, you build your personal brand. And the more you create, the more the community will look at what you created. And yeah, you will become an expert in your field. And do you have any other questions?
Yeah, so Michael is appreciating your work and actually saying that this is a product that is timely and solves a lot of problems. And definitely for each and every you, as you can see, it's community based. If you'd like to also do it, get into your community or spheres of influence, show more people about Infracodebase, demonstrate it to them. In case you need any resources, do check the Infracodebase YouTube. There's a lot of sessions that go on and are uploaded there. Tarak and Justin have held sessions with different experts, and also different walkthroughs are also uploaded there once they're done. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
definitely can. Yes, Tarak, you want to say something? There's something you are doing? Yeah.
Yes, I'm always thinking about how I can improve the work that I'm doing on the diagram and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, for example, I see that I would like this icon to have an existing icon. So here, this is what I'm doing here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Any question? Anyone with a question? I know we were supposed
Yeah.
to end at the top of the hour, that is in the next 30 minutes, but in case there is still any more questions, that is why we are here. It's a discussion, it's an interaction, it's demonstration, a mix of everything. Godfrey is asking, does Infracodebase support GCP? Believe that you can easily say yes. Please go on.
So one thing as well is like now what we can do is like write the GCP, um, build it on GCP as well, following, for example, here, I like it. So GCP well architectured framework. Here it's this one. So what I can do now is like I can copy following this. Write the Terraform code using the Terraform MCP. Yes, we support all the cloud providers, all the languages. And it will also create, you can see, the GCP architecture diagram.
Maybe I can ask this. I know maybe there's something that might be already in the roadmap. I know some things you can share, some things you cannot share. But what's next in the roadmap for Infracodebase? I think about CLI or something like Infracodebase
To be
CLI.
honest, I do
What?
think it's about improving what already exists. Like, for example, improving the design area, make it more intuitive, even though to be honest is really intuitive right now. Because, for example, for the diagram, as you can see, I didn't build it. It was built from AI directly. So I'm just thinking about what we could improve. We also worked this week on the version history. But it's more improvement, I would say. But if you have any feedback as well, once you will start really using it, once you have other feedback, please share them with us. Like we are constantly looking for improvement. Like for example here, the one we just created, like we created this one for the community. But if you have any feedback on how we could improve it as well, that would be really great. One thing we might be doing as well is like right now, imagine that you are a freelancer and you actually want to sell your work. So right now it's only free, like that everyone can use it. And I would like to reach 500 templates available. Once we reach the 500 templates available, then I would like people to be able to monetize their work. Like imagine, for example, Kevin is creating an Azure landing zone. He can say, okay, this Azure landing zone to business will cost X, and then he can sell his own work on the platform. So it's something that I'm thinking about as well. How to make sure that every one of us right now can make money out of the product.
Love that. Exactly. And considering people would use also their own credits and also their thinking, the way they are prompting, they would also get value out of the time they've spent to create those templates that they've monetized.
Yes. And now for the
Awesome.
person who has the question about GCP, as you can see here, we are already working on the GCP with GCP service, GCP architecture analysis.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. And it works with many, many different cloud providers. Maybe I can ask this because I even just thought it out of my mind. Let's say we are having, like, let's say currently you are managing our infra on-prem. How can infra code base be of value to such an organization?
So here it's a great question. We are actually thinking about it. Is we started thinking about it. I cannot answer to you yet on the hybrid model because both is on-prem plus cloud. So right now we are one of the best products on the cloud infrastructure management. But I'm also thinking about how we can go for the on-prem and the hybrid. Yes. It's really a question that I'm thinking myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
But this
because
question, to
certain
be honest,
organizations are, yeah.
it's more related to enterprise companies, like banks, for example, in the US or
Yeah.
even in Africa and so on. But it's, yeah, I think it's something we will need to tackle soon. And as you can see as well, this is something that we build, searching the web. So right now you can actually see what the AI is actually looking for into the web and is looking for Google Cloud Web Architecture Framework, as you can see. So you're also able to follow that.
Awesome.
And here,
Any question from anyone? As also the GCP infra is being coded out. Anyone with some questions? So just in case, Tarak, how can people reach out to you, give feedback about InfraCodebase? What are the different ways? I know you've already shared the YouTube. I know they can also
you can
follow you.
directly invite me on LinkedIn.
Mhm,
I am very
mhm.
present. I have around 30,000 followers already. But if you want to contact me, please contact me. I would love as well, Kevin, to think about how we can do other sessions together for the group if I think that it could be interesting. I really want to build. I really want to build with the community and with you guys. So if you want, we can do monthly sessions together. Um, and if you want one-on-one session, that would be great. One thing as well is like, for example, I know that one of you created the workspace and I love it. Maybe share it on LinkedIn. Like my goal will be like, imagine now we have 40 people. Imagine that each one of us is building one workspace and then share it on LinkedIn. It's not only for us, but it's also to give you the visibility that you deserve. Like for example here, the GitHub repository that you onboarded on InfraCodebase, just share the link, just create a content with it, create a content on LinkedIn, mention me in your content like that. I will also give you the visibility that I have. Usually, to be honest, when I do posts, I have between 100 to 400 people liking it. So just by doing that, you will also have a lot of visibility. So we need to bring this
Totally,
product
yeah.
all together to other people who are not here today.
I agree with you totally. Luke is asking a question. You can check it in the
Yes.
chat.
Which LLM does InfraCodebase use for code analysis and generation in the background? We use Claude. So Claude is basically the LLM that we're using. But like I was saying, Claude is one thing, but it's why I'm able to build that at scale. It's because of the guardrails. It's because of the governance that we put in place. It's because I'm able to, instead of thinking just about prompt, I'm thinking about spec as well. So the LLM is basically Claude, but all the environment, the ecosystem around it is what makes it so powerful. Like for example, even for the diagram, we build it ourselves. Uh, so is not Claude is not we are not using Claude to generate the diagram, but Justin, who is also the builder, build all of this. So LLM is Claude, but you have all the ecosystem around it. And what did you think about my idea of um, if each one of us create a workspace and then share it on LinkedIn as well? What do you think about this idea that I could actually help you build your own personal brand on LinkedIn? Or maybe it's not something you would like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see the reaction means it's something that they definitely, the group would definitely love. And yes, I think because this was a very fast session with the community and so many people are excited about it, I would be happy if we have you again also next month so that we hear also what people have already built so
Yes.
far. Yeah. And what have they learned and such. So we'll definitely have you again and have it more monthly. Let's build more. We had a mix of discussion that can even build more. For Michael, yes, the credits might not last you long, but you can share your link and get more people and you add on to the credits that you do have because you definitely have a sphere
So
of
one
influence
thing
there.
as well, when you create your account, it's not you will get the 250, it's actually the one that like two things. Once you create your account, we offer you 500 credits. So it's not actually 250, it's 500 that I wanted to offer you. The second one is every time now that you are going to share your referral link with others, then you will earn 250 credits. But you will always start, it's a gift that I give you will always start with 500 credits first.
Yeah,
So it's not 250, it's actually 500.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, someone is asking whether how they can connect with you on LinkedIn. And let me see if I can grab your link. But okay, if you can faster than me, I can share it.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can look at my LinkedIn here. And I think there are already people who connected with me on Azure there. So here you have my LinkedIn. Yes. So please connect with me. For example, this person is one of our ambassadors as well. So here, I don't know if internet is actually working on. Yeah. Here, for example, is building the LATAM community with me. So as you can see, for example, when he shared this post, you have 46 people who liked it. So I also help him like build his brand. So already it's something that I would love to do with all of you. I can also share the workspace with you that we
exactly.
created together. Um, so you will have it. You can actually understand it better. And I just will need to tweak it a little bit more, but I think you understand the concept. Yeah, I see
Awesome.
it's
Yeah,
still
so
working
let's connect with
on
Tarak.
that.
Yes. Let's also connect. And in case also for some of you, if you haven't connected yet, also when you do that, and we are going to be having, please, as Tarak has said, because of this session, we are going to share screenshots, we're going to share the recording. Please post on LinkedIn, post, create visibility about it. Helps your personal brand. Tag Tarak, tag myself, and we'll be happy to interact
And here, as you can see one thing as well, you have the README, you show the preview,
with
architecture analysis, complete
the posts
documentation.
regarding this particular session.
And one thing that is important as well to mention before we drop is like here is like now, uh, let's say that I would have needed to manually build everything that we have done here. What we have done here with my team, how long would you have, how long would it have taken for me to build it? How much cost? How much would it have? Like that, I also want you to kind of realize what we have done. It's like here, uh, just for GCP, we wrote 716 lines. So here you are going to see. Yeah. So you can understand, right? 320,000. You see, what normally takes a skilled team between 3 to 5 months and costs between 270 to 370 will accomplish in less than 4 hours. This is what is also impressive. Like you are able to basically reduce the time to hours. And it's not me who wrote it, it's basically what you can see here. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from anyone?
So I think we are good. One thing I would
Awesome.
like
I
to
think
do before the end,
we are good.
one
We're
thing
good. We're
is
good.
like, can the people who are still with us uh, put the camera on just for 1 minute? Maybe we can take a picture all together. That's amazing. Thank you. I love it. Thank you so much. Like that, we can take a picture all together. And it's always nicer to see people, to see faces. I really appreciate that. Yes. Once we have the complete screen, maybe Kevin or I, we can take a picture. I will also share it on LinkedIn. I really want to build with you. I really want everyone in the world with me to know who was with me with Kevin today. We are almost complete. That's great. Thank you so much. And then, Kevin, where will you record where will the recording be? On YouTube, on
Yeah, it will be on YouTube. It will be on the AWS ML user group YouTube. I'm sharing the link, and I'll also share once it's out. I'll also share directly with
okay.
all of you. Yeah, so the YouTube is also
So
there.
we're almost there.
So
Michael,
we're going to
Nathaniel,
be on
Dennis.
YouTube.
Yeah. Or maybe we can just take a picture with all the people who accepted to be on screen today. Thank you so much. It's you, Kevin, or it's me who will take the picture?
I'll take, and you can also take. It's important to have a backup, right? Resilience.
Yes.
So just in case.
So for Nathaniel, Dennis, maybe uh, Zoe, Juliette,
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, Michael can now see you.
Luz and
I,
Gary as well. That would be nice to have you. And maybe we can take the picture right now. I love it.
yeah.
Or we can just wait a little bit more. Yes, we're almost close. That's great. I love the SF bridge. Thank you so much. And here, I think we can take the picture.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciated it. To be honest, I loved it. It was really like a session. Um,
Yeah,
we can do a lot like that all together. I and Kevin knows like when I'm giving you my word, I never get back to it. So if you want me to mentor you as well, I'm here. Let's build, let's make things stronger together.
awesome, awesome, and
Yeah,
I
that's
totally agree.
that's good. That's good.
I
Okay,
love it.
awesome. Thank you so much. Have a nice time, people, and see you on the next one. See you on the next one next month. Bye bye.
Bye bye. I love the music. Bye.